back to 5-Minute Fridays. I am just about to start my 5-minute workout for today. All I'm using today is my jump rope mat. You will need something soft beneath you for this workout. So if you have an exercise mat or a yoga mat, definitely go ahead and get that ready. If you don't have a mat, a towel should suffice. And if you are working out on a carpeted floor or on grass, you may not need anything at all. There are timestamps in the description box down below the video. So if you would prefer to skip straight ahead to the workout, you can go ahead and use the chapter markers to do that. But if you would like to see the exercises demonstrated and explained before we begin, let's go ahead and get into that right now. There are really just 3 different exercises. We are on intervals today. So we're on 10-second rest intervals, 40-second work intervals times 6 rounds. So we are going to do each of our 3 exercises for 2 intervals, 1 interval on each side. So the first exercise is thriller abs. So go ahead and come down onto your mat. We're going to be down on the mat for all 3 of these exercises. You're going to start by placing your bottom forearm on the mat for support. Your top leg is going to be bent and this foot is going to be flat on the mat. And with this bottom leg, you're just going to extend it straight out in front of you. Actively straighten the leg as though you are trying to touch the wall over there with your toes, okay? You want this leg to be nice and elongated. So this is our starting position. So you're in this pose like Michael Jackson on the cover of the Thriller album. That is why I call these thriller abs. So from here, you're going to extend this top arm up overhead. Now you're going to lift this bottom leg and you're going to bring your arm to meet the toes. So you're going to tap the toes with your fingers like that. All right, and then return to your starting position. Now we're going to add a little hip lift. So you're going to press this forearm into the mat. You're going to press the heel of this standing foot into the mat and you're going to lift your hips as high as you can. Really feel those obliques, engage your obliques. You are pressing into the mat, you are using your arm and your foot to support you, but you really want to engage your obliques and make sure that you're using your ab muscles to actually lift your hips up as high as you can. And then you are using your obliques again to control the movement on the way down as you lower your hip back down to the mat. Just don't let your hip drop down to the mat. And that's 1 rep, okay? So you are extending this bottom leg, extending your arm up overhead. Now you're going to lift the leg and touch the toes. Return to your starting position. Now engage your obliques and lift your hips up as high as you can. Control the movement on the way down. Lift the leg, touch the toes, lift the hips, lower the hips. Just like that. So we will spend the entire 40-second work interval on this side. Then we'll get a 10-second rest break. It's not really enough time to rest. It's just going to be enough time to switch sides. So during that 10-second rest break, as quickly as you can, you're going to switch to the other side of your mat. Now this is your bottom arm. You're going to place the forearm down on the mat for support. Take your top leg, bend the knee, place this foot flat on the mat. Extend the other foot straight out as though you're trying to touch that wall with your toes. Extend the arm up overhead. And then as soon as our next 40-second work interval starts, you'll do the same exercise on this side. So lift the leg, tap the toes. Then lift the hips and repeat. For 40 seconds. All right, so that's the first exercise. Then you'll get another 10-second rest interval, but again, it's not really enough time to get in a ton of rest because we're gonna go right into our next exercise, which is a 1-leg glute bridge raise plus a toe touch. We've done these recently within the last week or 2. So you're going to come down onto your back on the mat. You're going to lift 1 leg. And you can flex this foot. What we're going to do is lift the hips. So you're going to press the heel of this standing foot into the mat, and you can use your arms down here to support you if that helps. but you're going to lift your hips up as high as you can. And as you do that, you want to visualize trying to make an imprint of the bottom of your shoe on the ceiling. So you're lifting this foot straight up as high as you can, and then really squeeze those glutes at the top of the movement. Now again, you're going to lower your hips, but you're making sure that you're not just dropping the hips down. You want that movement to be under control. The movement should always be under control. So pressing the heel of your standing leg into the mat, push your hips up as high as you can, squeeze the glutes. Make an imprint of the bottom of your shoe on the ceiling now. With control, lower the hips. And now you're going to touch the toes with the fingers on the opposite hand. So you're gonna do a little crunch. You're gonna sit up, tap the toes, return to your starting position. That's one rep. We will again stay on the same leg for the entire 40-second work interval. So you're going to keep this foot elevated for the entire work interval, and you're going to keep this other foot pressing down into the mat. So press the foot into the mat, lift the hips, lower the hips, touch the toes. All right, then with our next 10-second rest interval, you will actually get a few seconds right in the middle of the workout to actually rest, because we're going to switch legs, but you don't need to move. So you can just use that entire second rest interval to rest, and then you're going to switch legs. So now you're going to lift the opposite leg, and for the next 40-second work interval, this leg will remain elevated the entire time. This is your standing leg for the entire interval. So you're going to press the heel of your standing leg into the mat, lifting your hips as high as you can, squeezing those glutes at the top, making an imprint of the bottom of your shoe in the ceiling. Then control the movement as you lower your hips. The hand on the opposite side is going to come up and tap the toes. Lift the hips, lower the hips, and now crunch, reach up and touch the toes. One leg glute bridge raise, and a crunch with a toe tap. After that 40-second interval, we'll get another 10-second rest interval. So you're going to use that time to get up and flip over. And now we are going to be in like a one-leg plank position. So you can start in this box position with your hands directly underneath your shoulders and your knees underneath your hips. Now take one foot, step it back, extend this leg behind you. And this is actually going to be your starting position. Now, when the 40-second work interval starts, you're going to take this back foot, bend the knee, and very similar to what we just did in the previous exercise, when we were doing those one-leg glute bridge raises and you were trying to touch the ceiling, make an imprint on the ceiling of the bottom of your shoe, you're going to do the same thing. So the motion is this. You're going to bend this knee and you're going to lift your foot straight up. So you really want to squeeze your glutes, really feel it in your glutes. But visualize trying to get the bottom of your foot all the way up to the ceiling so that you're again making an imprint of the bottom of your shoe in the ceiling, all right? So really think about lifting the foot straight up, and that's going to help you target your glutes, all right? So bend the knee, lift the leg. Now, you're going to put that put that foot back down, return to your starting position, and now you're going to lift this front knee up towards your chest. So pressing into the ground with the ball of your foot, the foot of that back leg, and pressing the ground away from you with your hands, you're going to lift your knee up and tuck it in towards your chest. Then put the knee back down. That's one rep. So again, we will stay on this side for the entire 40-second work interval. So now again, you're going to bend this knee, lift the leg, then put this foot down. Press the ball of the back foot into the ground, Press the ground away with your palms and lift your knee, tuck it in towards your chest. Then with control, lower the knee, return to your starting position. Bend the leg, make an imprint of the bottom of your shoe on the ceiling. Straighten the leg, press the ball of the foot into the ground, push the ground away with your palms, lift the knee, tuck it in towards your chest. Lower the knee back down to the mat with control. Leg lift, knee lift. Lift the leg towards the ceiling, lift the knee towards the chest. So you'll stay on this side for 40 seconds, 10 seconds to rest. So take just a few seconds and shake it out. Maybe give the shoulders a quick stretch, and then you're gonna come right back down into your plank position. So you can start from this tabletop position. Now extend the other foot behind you, and you're going to do the same exercise on this side. So taking this back foot, bending the knee and raising that foot towards the ceiling, squeezing those glutes. Make sure you're really feeling your glute muscle on that part of the exercise. Now straighten the leg, press the ball of this foot into the ground. Make sure you are actively pressing your palms into the mat. Visualize pushing the ground away from you as you lift this front knee towards your chest. And make sure you're controlling the movement on the way down. Bend the knee, leg lift, knee lift. Bend the knee, lift the foot towards the ceiling, lift your knee towards your chest. All right, and that's it. You'll do that for 40 seconds. And that is our 5 minutes. That's the entire workout. If you are a beginner, I will just point out that all 3 of these exercises are compound movements. If it is too difficult for you to do the exercises the way I'm doing them, you can just focus on one part of each exercise. That's fine. So for example, our first exercise was our thriller abs plus this hip lift. If the hip lift is too difficult for you, just stay right here. You can just do these thriller abs for the entire work interval, and that's totally fine. If you start out by adding the hip lift and it gets too difficult, just switch to abs. Just focus on this. If this is too difficult to do with a straight leg, then that's fine. You can have a slight bend to your knee and just bring knee to elbow. Instead of bringing your hand to your toes, just tuck the knee in and bring knee to elbow if you need to. That's absolutely fine. Okay, so there's a beginner modification for the first exercise if you need it. Not all beginners are at the same level, and I do think a lot of beginners will be able to manage to do the exercises the way I showed you initially and the way I'm going to be doing them. But if it's too much for you, there's a modification. So you'll do that once on each side. Now with our second exercise, again, it's a compound movement because we're starting with our one leg glute bridge raise, and then we're adding this little crunch with a toe touch. So if it's too much for you, you can just do one or the other. You can just work on your one leg glute bridge raise and stay here for the entire interval. Or you can just do your one leg toe touch and stay here for the entire interval. Or if you want, if it's too difficult to do the one leg glute bridge raise, you can have both feet flat on the mat and do your glute bridge raises like this, with both feet flat on the mat. So you'll press both heels into the mat, lift your hips as high as you can, make sure you're really squeezing those glutes at the top, and then lower the hips. Just make sure that you're lowering your hips with control. So if you want to do that, you can just do 2 intervals of glute bridge raises since you don't need to switch sides. The other thing you could do is do your glute bridge raises for 40 seconds. And then with your next 40-second work interval, you could do an ab exercise, and that way you're still getting both components. So you could just do maybe bicycles, maybe something like this. I think this is an exercise that most beginners can manage. If you're able to lift both legs. You can do toe touches. So that way, what you're going to end up doing will be very similar to what I'm doing, but you'll just split it up. So instead of doing a one leg glute bridge raise with a toe touch, spending one interval on each side, you'll just spend one interval doing glute bridge raises with both feet flat on the mat, and then one interval doing toe touches. That would work as well, but any ab exercise there will work. So you can just do regular sit-ups. You could do Russian twists. All right, really any ab exercise will work. So that's a couple of options for beginners if you can't do the one leg glute bridge raises. But again, I think a lot of beginners are going to be able to follow along with this workout the way I'm doing it. But it's really important that you're working to your own level, and you guys know it's so important to me that all of my workouts are always accessible to anyone and everyone who wants to do them with me. So I want to make sure that I'm providing modifications if you can't do the exercises the way I'm doing them. So hopefully you're able to do the exercises the way I'm doing them, but if not, these modifications should help. But as always, if you need any further help with beginner modifications, I am right here to help, so please just ask. And so for the third and final exercise, the same thing. It is another compound movement. So we're doing first these leg lifts where you're squeezing your glutes and lifting your foot up towards the ceiling. All right, so you can just stay here and do this exercise for the entire 40-second work interval. That's totally fine. Or you can do this exercise, just lifting your knee to your chest for the entire 40-second work interval if it's too much going back and forth between the two. You could also just do bird dogs. That might be a good substitution. So again, you're going to start in a tabletop position. You're going to extend this foot behind you, extend the arm in front of you, and then just crunch knee to elbow. If that's too difficult, if you lack the balance, keep both of your hands on the ground. So again, start in a tabletop position with your hands directly underneath your shoulders and your knees underneath your hips. Extend one leg out, and you can just do knee tucks. So you would expend the entire 40 seconds on this side, and then rest for 10 seconds. You can rest in your tabletop position, or you can come up for 10 seconds and shake it out. Stretch the elbows, and then with your final 40-second work interval, put the hands back down, extend the opposite leg behind you, and just do knee tucks like this. And if you're able, extend the opposite arm and do bird dogs. So the same exercise, but as you tuck that knee towards your chest, you're tucking the opposite arm in towards your chest, bringing knee to elbow. All right, so bird dogs if you can. If not, keep both hands flat on the mat and just do your knee tucks. All right, so hopefully that is helpful. Again, just choose the option that is best for you. I do think most beginners will be able to challenge themselves to do the exercises the way I'm doing them, but if it's too much for you, combining all those movements, you can just simplify it and apply those modifications. And again, if you need any further help with modifications beyond what I've already showed you, please just ask. I will start with a beginner version of the workout, applying some of those modifications. So you can try that one first, and then if you feel like you want to push yourself, you can stick around and try the more advanced version, because again, I do think that the more advanced version of today's workout is still suitable for most beginners. But it's really important that you work to your own level. So let's start with the beginner modifications, and then we will build on that. Hopefully I have covered everything. Please just remember a few things, especially if you are working out along with the video, to please go at your own pace. Do not sacrifice your form for speed. So we're on intervals. Yes, the goal is to complete as many reps as possible of each exercise during the work interval, but with good form. So you don't want to just race through the exercises or through the reps without making sure that your form is spot on. okay? It's really important that you understand how to do the exercises with the correct form before you begin the workout, and it's really important that you do the exercises with the correct form while you're doing the workout, because that is going to help reduce your risk of injury, and it's also going to ensure that you're getting the maximum benefit out of each exercise. This workout is very short, so you really want to maximize the benefits, and you do that by performing each rep with picture perfect form. So really make sure that you're focusing on your proper form above all else, but go at your own pace. So move quickly if you can, and fill the entire work interval if you can, but do not sacrifice your form for speed. So again, we have rest intervals and we have work intervals. The goal is to only rest during the rest intervals. And the goal is to work throughout the entire work interval. But if you need a few seconds to rest during the work interval, please do that. You have to listen to your body and you have to work to your own level. So if you are unable to work for 40 seconds without resting, then by all means, take a few seconds during the work interval to pause and rest. Take a few deep breaths and only continue when you feel that you are strong enough that you are capable of continuing with proper form. All right, so make sure you're working to your own level. Make sure you're going at your own pace, and please do not sacrifice your form for speed. Also, please take a few minutes to make sure you're good and warmed up before we begin. Jumping into this workout or any workout with cold muscles is not a good idea. Warm muscles are more pliable, and therefore they are less susceptible to injury. If you start doing the workout with cold muscles, your muscles are more likely to not be as flexible. You might pull something or strain something. I don't want anyone getting hurt. So please remember to take a few minutes before you do the workout to make sure that you're good and warmed up. Grab an exercise mat or a yoga mat if you have one. If not, maybe a towel. And when you're ready, let's go ahead and get started with our beginner version of the workout. All right, beginners, you are up first. So come on down to the mat because we are starting with thriller abs. My timer is set for 10-second rest intervals, 40-second work intervals, times 6 rounds. So when you're ready, here we go, starting with a 10-second rest interval. And now come on down to the mat. You're going to place your bottom forearm on the mat. Take this back leg, bend the knee, foot is flat on the mat, extend the other leg out in front of you, extend the arm up overhead, and then you're going to lift that front leg and tap the toes. We're gonna stay on this side for the entire 40-second work interval. If it is too difficult to have this bottom leg straight, you can bend the knee a little bit and bring knee to elbow. That's absolutely fine. But if you're able to straighten that leg, make sure you're actively straightening the leg all the way, really extending the leg as far as you can. So visualize trying to touch the wall over there with your toes. But again, if you need to bend the knee, that's fine. That's our first work interval. So now you have 10 seconds to switch sides. So back knee is bent, foot is flat on the mat. Extend that bottom leg straight out if you can. Extend the arm up overhead. Lift the leg and tap the toes. Straightening this leg all the way. So visualize trying to touch that wall over there with your toes. And if you cannot do that, just bend the knee slightly and bring elbow to knee. Work to your own level. So this is a little bit easier if you lack flexibility especially, but if you're able to challenge yourself and straighten that bottom leg, that's great. Good job, we're all done with thriller abs. So now come onto your back. We're going to do glute bridge raises. So bend the knees, press the heels into the mat and lift your hips as high as you can. Make sure you're squeezing your glutes at the top of the movement. And as you lower your hips back down to the mat, make sure the movement is under control. So you don't want to just let your hips drop. You want to make sure you're controlling the movement all the way down. You don't have to go that slow. You just have to have the movement under control. So pressing your heels into the mat, lifting the hips as high as you can, squeeze the glutes at the top, and then control the movement as you lower the hips back down. Now abs. So any kind of ab exercise you want to do is fine. I'm just going to do sit-ups, but you can do crunches. Remember, you can do Russian twists if that's easier for you. You can have your heels on the ground, or if you want to challenge yourself, you can lift your heels off the ground, twist and tap, twist and tap. But any ab exercise you want to do is fine, so just do what works for you. Make sure you're working to your own level. Remember, it's the goal to keep working through the entire work interval, but please do not push your body into doing something it is not ready to do. If you need to rest, you should rest. Now we're going to come to a tabletop position, so your hands are directly underneath your shoulders. Extend one foot behind you and tuck the knee in towards the chest. Then extend the foot, tuck the knee, extend the foot. If you want to challenge yourself a little more, and if you are capable of doing so, you can do bird dogs. So extend the opposite arm in front of you, and as you tuck that knee in towards the chest, tuck your elbow in towards the chest, bring elbow to knee. So bird dogs if you can, but if the bird dogs are too difficult, just keep both hands flat on the mat and tuck the knee in towards the chest. 10 seconds to rest. So shake it out, give the shoulders a quick stretch, and now back to your tabletop position. Hands directly under the elbows, extend the opposite leg behind you, and tuck the knee in towards the chest. Extend the leg, return to your starting position. Tuck and extend. Stay here if you need to. If you are able to and you want to challenge yourself a little more, you can do bird dogs by extending the opposite arm straight out in front of you and bringing knee to elbow. So each time you tuck that knee in towards the chest, you're also pulling that opposite elbow in towards the knee. If not, both hands on the ground is fine. But that's it, that's our 5 minutes. We did it. So that workout was only 5 minutes long, but we got pretty much our entire lower body. We got our abs, our core, we got our glutes, we got our quads a little bit, and you guys, we even got shoulders a little bit as well. So really amazing job if you managed to hang in there with me for the entire 5 minutes. We are not quite finished yet. No workout of mine is ever complete, even if it is only 5 minutes long, until we have done our bonus burpee. Just because you are a beginner, that does not excuse you from having to do your bonus burpee. The bonus burpee is always mandatory. So let's go ahead and do a beginner bonus burpee together now, and then the workout will be officially complete. So you're going to start standing towards the middle of your mat, bend down, put your hands flat on the mat, and step your feet back so you are in a plank position. Now put your knees down and do a push-up if you can. Back up to your plank, step the feet in and stand. Come up onto your toes if you can, or if you want, you can add a little jump. With that, our beginner workout is now officially complete. So if you did this little 5-minute beginner workout with me today, thank you so much. Please let me know what you thought of it and how you did. If you enjoy these 5-minute workouts and you would like to see more of them, please remember that I have an entire playlist of 5-minute workouts on my channel. It will be linked at the end of this video. And please remember, especially if you are a beginner, to take a few minutes after the workout to stretch. If you take a few minutes to stretch, it is going to help alleviate any soreness that you might be feeling tomorrow. It is also going to help prevent future injuries, and it's going to increase your flexibility. So please don't skip your stretching. At least 15 minutes or so if you can spare it. The best time to get your stretching done is right now, right after the workout, because your muscles are already nice and warm. Warm muscles are more pliable, so this is going to be the most effective time and the safest time to stretch. As long as you get your stretching done at some point during the day, it's fine. But if you wait until later in the day to do your stretching, your muscles are going to be cold again. So you'll have to take a few minutes to warm them back up before you jump into your stretching so that you don't overstretch or pull anything. I don't want anyone getting hurt. So if you can spare 15 minutes at least right now to do your stretching, this is the best time to get it done. But once you have completed your stretching, you can go ahead and hop in the shower, eat some lunch, get on with the rest of your day. Thank you very much, beginners, for joining me today. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you all on Monday. But if you would like to stick around and see if you are capable of doing the more advanced version of the workout with me, I do think that is doable for most beginners, so you are welcome to do that. You're already nice and warmed up, so let's go ahead and get started. All right, so if you are ready to go ahead and begin this more advanced version of the workout, come on down to your mat. We are starting with Thriller Abs. I have my timer set for 10-second rest intervals, 40-second work intervals times 6 rounds. So there are 3 different exercises. We are going to be doing each exercise twice, 1 interval on each side. So as soon as you're ready, let's go ahead and start. We are starting with our 10-second rest interval. And now go ahead and place this bottom arm on the mat, bend the back knee. This foot is flat on the mat. Extend the other leg straight out in front of you. Extend your arm up overhead. And now you're going to lift that front leg, bring your hands to tap the toes, return to your starting position, and now lift the hips. Making sure that when you lower those hips back down to the mat, that you're lowering them back down with control. So don't just let your hips drop down. Make sure the movement is under control. So lift the leg, touch the toes, lift the hips, lower the hips. We're staying on this side for the entire 40-second work interval. Now we have 10 seconds to switch sides. So flip over to the other side. Back leg is bent, foot is flat on the mat. Extend the front leg out in front of you, extend the arm up overhead. Lift the leg, tap the toes, lower the leg, and then lift the hips, and lower the hips back down to the mat with control. Make sure that this bottom leg is all the way straight as you can get it. So visualize trying to touch the wall over there with your toes. Make sure that leg is nice and elongated the whole time. All right, 1 leg bridge with a toe touch. So down the back, you're going to lift 1 leg, lift the hips, and tap the toes. So as you lift those hips, visualize trying to make an imprint of the bottom of your shoe on the ceiling. So you're lifting that leg up as high as you can, pressing that foot up towards the ceiling. So press the foot of your standing leg into the mat, lift the hips as high as you can, and make sure that you're squeezing those glutes at the top. 10 seconds to rest. We're gonna switch legs. So now this will be your standing leg. Lift the opposite leg. You're gonna press the heel of your standing leg into the mat. Lift the hips as high as you can. Squeeze the glutes at the top. Control the movement on the way down. And then you're doing this little crunch and tapping your toes with the opposite hand. After this, there's just 1 exercise left, so keep pushing. All right, so turn over, extend 1 foot out behind you. Now bend this knee, So you're bending this knee. Really feel that glute muscle as you lift the leg, pressing the bottom of that foot up towards the ceiling. So you're really thinking about lifting the leg straight up and really squeezing those glutes. Then you're putting that foot down and you're pressing the ball of your foot into the ground. At the same time, you are actively pressing the ground away. This is our 10-second rest interval. We're going to switch sides. So now extend the opposite leg, bend the knee, lift the leg, make an imprint of the bottom of your shoe on the ceiling, then return to the starting position, press the ball of that foot into the ground, press your hands into the mat, and lift that front knee up towards your chest as high as you can. So visualize pressing the ground away from you with your palms as you lift that front knee. So bend the knee, lift the leg, feel those glutes. And you guys, that's it. That's our 5 minutes. We did it. Only 5 minutes, but we managed to get our abs, our entire core, our glutes, our quads a little bit, and even our shoulders. So excellent job if you managed to hang in there with me for the entire 5 minutes. We are not quite finished yet. No workout of mine is ever complete, even if it is only 5 minutes long, until we have done our bonus burpee. So we have just 1 rep left to go. But first, it is time for the McFlurry Minute. I am going to reset my timer to count down 60 seconds for me. I'm going to jump rope for 60 seconds, and if I can make it through the entire 60-second work interval without tripping over my jump rope, everybody wins a free McFlurry. So give me just a minute to reset my timer and go grab my jump rope. I will be right back. All right, my timer has been reset. Rude Becca is ready to go. Rude Becca is my adorable black jump rope with the little white skulls on the handles. And if you're wondering where I get my jump ropes, there is a link and a coupon code in the description box down below the video. So click on the link, use coupon code RudeBecca to save an additional 10% on your jump rope. We have a streak going of just 2 successful McFlurry minutes in a row. We are trying to make it 3 in a row today. So wish me luck. We are starting as always with a 10-second rest interval. And now hopefully in just about 60 seconds from now, we can all meet at McDonald's and enjoy some free ice cream for lunch. Here we go. It's a short winning streak, but it's still alive, and that's what matters. Free ice cream. It's the freaking weekend. You guys, things are starting to look up around here. Yet another successful McFlurry Minute in the books. That is our 3rd successful McFlurry Minute in a row. And now we have just 1 rep left to go. Let's go ahead and do our bonus burpee together, and then the workout will be officially complete when you're ready. Here we go. Final rep of the day. All right, with that, the workout is now officially complete. I thought this was a fun little lower body workout. We got our abs and our core, we got our glutes, we got our quads a little bit. We even hit shoulders a little bit. So it was super short, but I think it was really effective. I liked these exercises. I liked the flow of it. I hope you enjoyed it as well. If you did this little 5-minute workout with me today, thank you so much. Please let me know what you thought of it and how you did. Thank you to everyone who has been working out with me lately. And even if you are not doing the workouts with me, thank you for watching the videos. Thank you for liking and sharing the videos. Thank you so much for all of your wonderful and supportive and engaging comments. It really does mean the world to me. Thank you so much to all of my new subscribers. If you are not subscribed already, please subscribe. And of course, a great big thank you to those of you who have been subscribed to my channel for years. Please know that I appreciate you all so very much. One final reminder that if anything is unclear with the format, if you have any questions about the exercises that we were doing today, if you have any doubts about how to do the exercises with the correct form, or if you need any further help with beginner modifications, I am right here, so please just ask. If you enjoy these 5-minute workouts and you would like to see more of them, please remember that I have an entire playlist of 5-minute workouts on my channel. I will link it right there, and we will be continuing to do these 5-minute Fridays for the foreseeable future. So that means that I will be continuing to bring you at least one new 5-minute workout a week every week for the foreseeable future. That is going to do it for today. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone, and I will see you all on Monday. Bye.